Hello, everyone. Namaste. Welcome to my channel. My name is Rachel Buzaid. I am a Vedic counselor who uses Jyotish or Vedic astrology to uncover one's cosmic imprint and karmic patterns to understand the lessons that the soul is here to learn and not to become trapped in karmic patterns. Today I'm doing a really unique video. I am focusing more on the Nakshatras and how we can truly understand one's psyche and karmic patterns that their soul is here to truly overcome through the birth chart. We can see that. And I am doing this special case study on the shadow archetypes of certain nakshatras as an example. I will be doing it on a very powerful politician. And I just want to say that I am doing this because I love human beings. I love humanity. I want a better world for everyone. And I am someone who believes that everyone has a right to exist, no matter what religion or ethnicity that you are identified with. And I believe that everyone should have equal rights, no matter what their identifying markers are. If that is a problem for you, this video is not for you because I will be talking and showing the shadow archetypes of Prime Minister Modi's birth chart of India. I love India. It is the motherland for just the world, in my opinion. I have spent time there. I'm doing this for India, for my love for India. I believe India is one of the most beautiful places on earth, landscape-wise, but also culturally. And I believe that it's diversity that makes it so beautiful. India is home to so many religions, I couldn't tell you the number. It is a place that's always been extremely diverse, extremely ancient, and extremely special. And to honor that, I believe we have to speak about the things that are going on today in our current political climate, and we have to be truthful about it. So if that's a problem for you, no hurt feelings, drop off this video. Okay, so to get started, we need to first understand who is ruling India and what's going on. So to understand India today, you have to understand the 100-year-old contract. The RSS is a right-wing Hindu nationalist paramilitary organization that was founded in 1925. Well, now we're in 2026, so we're about to hit 101 years. But it's 100 years old at this point. It is the mothership of the BJP party, the ruling party that Modi is in. Their whole mission is to transform India that has been a secular democracy, a multicultural country, into a Hindu Rashtra, a Hindu-only nation. Their ideology is Hindutva. It believes India belongs only to those who consider it both their fatherland and the Holy Land, but effectively labels Muslims and Christians as foreigners with an emphasis on Muslims. Which, right, is very, very ironic because if you know, India, the country as we know it, was formed and unified by the Mughal Empire, which was Muslim. So to take that away from India is erasing a huge part of their culture and their origin. Their method, the RSS, right? It's not an actual political party. It's a paramilitary wing. They don't run for office themselves. They delegate their members, which are called pracharaks, into politics to carry out their agenda. And Narendra Modi is considered their most successful pracharak. Modi was built in RSS's image, he joined at the age of 8 years old and has spent his entire life fulfilling their sacred vow to erase a secular India that accepts multiple religions and ethnicities. This is why we are looking at his chart to see the shadow sides of a personality. Let's get started. Let's pull up Modi's chart and start seeing what the heck I am referring to here. Okay, here is Narendra Modi's birth chart. We have his birth time at 11 a.m. His birthday is September 17th, 1950. I feel that this is his correct birth time. When you see something like 11 a.m., it's a little bit suspicious, but a lot of other astrologers use this time and it really works. So let's get started. This middle, or this big chart right here, is his D1 birth chart, the public image chart. This is the chart that you use no matter what for transits and timelines, and all this is the main chart of his life. However, the D9, the Navamsha, or the spouse chart, actually shows the soul's true purpose, its true potential, and the soul's true nature and where it's trying to get to, and is considered to really kick in after 40 years old. Granted, I have seen people never reach that chart because they are so stuck in karmic patterns. Okay, let's get started on Modi's chart. So right away, he is a Scorpio ascendant or a Scorpio rising sign. That's intense. Scorpio is ruled by Mars, but it is a water sign. So you are merging fire and water. Scorpio is one of the most intense signs that is really connected to transformation. Okay, they are here to transform. Mars, the ruler of Scorpio, is on his ascendant. That is a Mahapurusha yoga, a yoga of great men in Jyotish. And it is here, it is giving a role of him to protect. He is here to protect, to be courageous, to defend something. Himself, really. If it's in the first house of self, the rising sign. It's the body, the personality, it's what others see. Having Mars in your first house is pretty powerful. Mars is the action planet, okay? This person is always going to be pretty actionable. It's his ascendant or rising sign is in Vishaka Nakshatra. This is a very interesting nakshatra because it's ruled by Jupiter, but it is a very different role for Jupiter because the deity is the Indra, the god leader. So there is just, Vishaka is all about fulfilling purpose no matter what the cost. It's a very powerful star constellation that is here to succeed. It is all about succeeding in its goals. And the dark side of that can be too much ego, not afraid to hurt others to achieve their goals because they think that their goals and their purpose is just so important. You know what I mean? Like they're just, nothing can get in their way. They are so fixated that what they are doing is the right thing and is necessary. So that's really interesting right away to see on his chart. However, Moon is also here on the ascendant with Mars. They are not super tight in degrees. Mars is almost 1 degree at 55 minutes. The moon is at 8 degrees and 48 minutes, meaning it's in a different star constellation. It's in Anurata. Anurata is ruled by Saturn, and so it's a totally different energy than Vishaka. Anurata is known for its devotion to relationships, its devotion to others, its unconditional love. It's still in Scorpio, so there's still a lot of, it's very connected to the Lotus story of coming from the mud and creating something beautiful, emerging into the light from the dark. So it's still an intense placement because it's in Scorpio, but it's so much softer than Vishaka and the other star constellation, Jyeshta, that's in Scorpio. And there is such a connection of devoting oneself to another which I will come back to. So when Moon and Mars are conjunct, there usually is some sort of tell about the mother being, there's either conflict with the mother, there is either issues with feeling their emotions. I see a lot of people with Mars and Moon conjunct or opposing with, instead of feeling their emotions, they like to go distract themselves and be busy and that kind of thing. There's also a tendency for emotional anger because it's Mars. But if it's not the mother, then it's something personal within feeling emotions. There is a block. The moon on the ascendant also means that someone usually is very emotional and acts from their emotions. With Mars there, though, I feel like it's kind of counteracting that. So I'm feeling a very intense inner conflict within himself, actually, with this placement. So moving on, his second and third houses are empty. So he has Jupiter in the fourth house in Dhanishta in Aquarius in retrograde. This is also really interesting. When a planet is in retrograde, it means a this is a lesson the soul is revisiting from a past life. He is revisiting this placement. That also makes the person's energy of this planet and this placement more inward than outward. So he's going to be more passive in his Jupiter actions. Jupiter is the great benefic in astrology. It is the planet of abundance, expansion, your belief systems, your gurus, your teachers, spirituality, higher knowledge. It's a great planet. It's in Aquarius in Dhanishta. Aquarius is a sign that's all about the collective. And when you're so the fourth house is the house of the mother, the homeland, inner happiness, and emotional security. It's a moksha house. It's a very important house. It's your inner happiness, but it also is the home and the homeland. And I am just not surprised at all that he has this placement there, being the Prime Minister of India, his homeland. Jupiter retrograde Dhanishta means that there is a review, and he has done this before. And the thing about Jupiter and Dhanishta is that this person is very attached to feeling purposeful in the collective, possibly in the home or the homeland, right? So the thing about Dhanishta is that a lot of people attribute it to fame, money, wealth. Yes, because when one seeks having a sense of purpose or value in the collective, a lot of times they go to the material for that. It is connected to famous people, Dhanishta. It's bright. There is a lot of fame that comes with Dhanishta karmically. However, the shadow side of that is someone who might be overcompensating to have value in the collective and feels that if they are not contributing to the collective in some way, that they are not important. Right. And that would get Dhanishta spans two zodiac signs, the end of Capricorn and the beginning of Aquarius. So in Capricorn, it would be much different because Capricorn is not about the collective necessarily like Aquarius is. So keep that one in mind. Next, his Rahu is in the fifth house in Pisces in Uttara Bhadrapada. Rahu is the North Karmic node, a shadow planet. It tells us what our soul is here to master. It is the forward moving karma of what the soul is here to really master this life that it hasn't mastered before. The fifth house, so interesting. So many politicians have very significant fifth houses. Fifth house is your self-expression. It's what you share with the world. The fifth house is represented by the sign Leo. So, right, being on stage, sharing your ideas, it's connected to performance. So politics is performative. No matter how you want to define it, it is on stage, it is performative. Acting has a huge fifth house energy. Sports is connected to the fifth house, athletes. So, right, he's a politician, he's on stage, totally checks out. His Rahu is in Pisces, and so, right, Pisces is the last sign of expansion, esoteric, mystical spirituality. It's the final sign of ending this theme and starting anew, closing this chapter. So there is a closing aspect here. Rahu in Uttara Bhadrapada. Uttara Bhadrapada is in the middle of Pisces, and it is more of, it's ruled by Saturn as well, and it's this sustaining energy. It's more of the responsible energy. It's softer, it's more solid, it's more grounded than Purva Bhadrapada or Revati, which are also in Pisces. So that makes sense too for him because I see him more as like a sustainer. Right, we're hearing a lot of Saturn energy in this chart already. His moon is in Anaharata, Jupiter's in Aquarius here. Aquarius is ruled by Saturn. So two nakshatras are already ruled by Saturn. Very interesting because what I hear a lot about Modi is he's the protector of India, or he's very responsible but humble. Okay, Saturn is very humble energy. Okay, moving on. So I'm going to kind of skip the outer planets for now, Uranus and Pluto, because I want to really get into the nakshatras here. So he has Saturn and Venus here in his 10th house of career and reputation. First of all, Saturn is his soul planet, the planet in the highest degrees in his chart. That means that he is here to embody the qualities of Saturn in his life. Saturn is the planet of heavy karma, of restriction, of delays, of rigidity, of discipline, of responsibility, of selfless service to others, being humble, right? This is really quite a big deal in his chart. It is also conjunct with Venus, but that is in a different nakshatra, even though it's in Leo. Venus is in Purva Falguni, while his Saturn is in Uttara Falguni. They come right out, but Uttara Falguni spans the end of Leo, the very end of Leo, and the beginning of Virgo. And Purva Falguni is fully in Leo. It's the middle star constellation within Leo. There's always 3 nakshatras in one zodiac sign. Saturn and Venus conjunct, right? It's a lot of times when Venus is in the 10th house of career and reputation, these people tend to care more about their career than they do love relationships. They care more about, they're more attached to their reputation, and some bigger, the outside, take on them than they are to having a spouse in some ways. It's there with Saturn showing a heavy karma with relationships. It's also showing someone who's very committed in relationships, but what's so interesting is that Modi is unmarried, and I would say his biggest commitment has been to the RSS and his vow to them. It's like a complete agreement that he's made for his whole life. So his sun, Mercury, Ketu, all 3 of the rest of his planets are in the 11th house of social groups, his community, the collective. Ketu is showing us past life karma with a little bit of residual effects. So he's been there, done that before with this house, but there is a little bit of things he needs to clean up. It's a very karmic planet. It's the south node. Mercury is also in Uttara Falguni in retrograde, meaning this is another planet or aspect of his life he is revisiting. There are lessons here that he needs to revisit. Mercury is the planet of your cognitive mind, the way you process things. It is your communication. It's your mind, whereas the moon is more of your emotions and your subconscious. This also means when Mercury is retrograde, there is an inward aspect, meaning this guy Mercury retrograde is calculated strategy. It is someone who goes inward and really gets strategic before they communicate what they're doing, which I will get into. His sun is in Uttara Falguni as well, in Virgo, all conjunct. Mercury and sun are in the same sign. This is when they're within such a, they are so close together that the sun is actually magnifying his Mercury instead of combusting it. So Mercury is very, very powerful in this chart. And what I really want to point out is that he has 4 placements in Uttara Falguni. Uttara Falguni is ruled by the sun, and its deity is Ahriman. This is a nakshatra that is all about upholding duty, responsibility, but in relationships to other people. There is a sense of nobility and contracts in this nakshatra. So there's a huge karma here with upholding contracts with others and upholding duty. Personally, I have a lot of Uttara Falguni, so this is something I'm very familiar with. It is Uttara Falguni creates a solar plexus wound, so it's all about the self's identity and empowerment and how it is, it's all about someone's sovereignty. So when you see this chart, you see someone who is extremely righteous, someone who is here to protect and defend and uphold contracts to others. When I hear people doing Modi's chart, they talk about how he is here to protect India and like this savior energy. Well, guess what? That is his public image. That is the image he has strategically calculated and upheld and he has been working on this since he was 8 years old. However, that analysis of his chart lacks so much depth and is ignoring what is really playing out in this guy's karmic contracts. So I'm going to be using in Jyotish, we have the time periods of someone's life that show us, it's almost like, it's called the dasha system. So here, where you're seeing, moon dash Mercury right here, think of these as the chapters and sub-chapters of someone's life. Okay, it's really cool because it can tell us what the soul is focusing on during a certain time period. So if he was born in 1950, I'm scrolling up to 1950. He was born in his Saturn Venus. So he was born, so the Mahadasha is Saturn, Venus is the sub-dasha. It's in Venus as a sub-chapter from 1949 to November 19th, 1952. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. That's what I'm looking at. Where is Saturn and Venus on his chart? It is here in the 10th house of career and reputation. That's just so interesting for a child to be activating those 2 planets as soon as they are born. So Modi comes from humble means. He talks very highly of his father, who I think was just like a street vendor. I'm sorry if I'm incorrect, but I know that he comes from very humble beginnings. India is a caste system. So let's start when he joins RSS, sorry, I do that a lot. I want to add a third S to it. He's 8 years old, so 1958, September 17th, 1958, let's go there. He is in Saturn, Rahu. So what we're looking at here is which planets are being activated during these time periods. So he's still in, Saturn is the major theme. So if it's in the 10th house, it's like the theme that he's going through is his reputation and his reputation to others. This is a very external house in the chart, whereas the opposite house opposing the 10th is the 4th house of your inner world, your inner emotions, so that's how I kind of want you to see this. So, right, it makes sense that he was indoctrinated into RSS at 8 years old. He's in his Saturn period, which is here in the 10th house. Guess what? Uttara Falguni is in is all about your contracts and your duty to others. And he's getting introduced to his biggest contract of his life during this period. Rahu sits in the 5th house of entertainment, creative expression, children. It is the house of children. The inner child can be seen from this house in different ways. So, right, this Rahu is getting activated here. His public appearance is getting activated. One thing I want to also say, Uttara Falguni, the nakshatra that spans Leo and Virgo, which he has 4 placements in, act differently in the signs. So Saturn, or a planet in Uttara Falguni in Leo, is different than a planet in Uttara Falguni in Virgo. Virgo is ruled by Mercury and is about service to others. Leo is ruled by the sun and is completely about self-identity and leadership. Saturn is his soul planet. This period of his life is so important because Saturn is his soul planet. Saturn in Uttara Falguni in Leo, when Saturn and the sun are merging energies, it can create quite an internal conflict around authority. Saturn is rigidity, rigid structure. Leo is leadership. This is where I think his rigidity comes into place about his belief system. This is someone who thinks that he is so noble and right about his beliefs that he is unwilling to think differently. This is where the rigidity and that self-righteousness really come in, is because he's merging Saturn with the sun in Uttara Falguni. Whereas Virgo is going to be a lot more selfless service. If anything, they struggle to lead because they think they are unworthy of recognition. That is the difference in Uttara Falguni in the signs. So I want to point that out. Okay, so we can see these 2 planets being activated when he joins RSS. It gets an arranged marriage and at 18 in 1968 and chooses his RSS group and his vow to the paramilitary ring over his marriage. So he leaves her. What's interesting, right, about his chart is that the spouse house is the 7th house. It's in Taurus, and the ruler of Taurus is in Venus. Well, Venus is in the 10th house of career, showing us that his relationships are about his career. Okay. In his spouse chart, the D9, we would also look at spouse there. He actually turns into a Cancer rising or a Cancer ascendant. So that means his soul has a lot more work to do when the rising signs are not the same, because this is where he's trying to get to. And this is the 7th house is ruled by Capricorn ruled by Saturn. Well, Saturn's in the 6th house of obstacles, early obstacles. That's exactly what happened. He chose his career over his marriage very early on. When he was 18, he was in his, 1968. He was in his Mercury Sun period, which was activating his 11th house here. So his commitment to his community, his social groups. I think 11th house is represented by RSS. RSS is his community. It is his karmic duty to others. That is his family, the RSS. Think about it, 8 years old, giving up marriage for RSS. Okay, this is a really big contract that he has with them. In 1968, he walks away from his marriage. And in 1971, he takes a vow of celibacy to join the RSS full time. 1971, he officially becomes a pracharak, so becomes a full-time preacher for the RSS. This is his ultimate social contract. He owns nothing. He has no family. So he belongs entirely to the RSS and can give his life to them and their ideology and their mission to create a Hindu India and erase secularism. So what I am here to show you is the shadow of Uttara Falguni specifically, because it creates a noble protector normally, but when the shadow is being played out, your contract becomes attached to a radical ideology and creating a blind loyalty to this group that is allowing his loyalty to be completely to them instead of to India itself as a whole and to the people of India. He's loyal to the vow that he has made to the RSS, not to India's constitution. So in 1971, at 21, when he becomes the full-time preacher for the RSS ideology, he is in his Mercury-Mars period. Okay. Mercury-Mars, it's activating so Mercury starts getting activated in 1961. This is, again, a very important aspect of his chart because this is the period where he doesn't become a politician in the spotlight. He becomes the strategic soldier of RSS waiting his turn. Okay. Because it's not until he's 51 where he gets appointed to chief minister. So in 1985, when he's 35, the RSS assigns him to the BJP party, the Hindu nationalist right-wing party. They deploy him into politics to be their architect within the democratic system. Another little point about RSS is that the guy who murdered Gandhi was a supporter of RSS and was because of the anti-Muslim stance. He killed Gandhi because he felt Gandhi was too nice on Muslims. Okay. What's so ironic about RSS and this whole ideology is it actually came out of the fascist movements that were from Europe, which is like colonial outside foreigner ideology, right? Can't make this up. So when he's 35 in 1985, he is bridging the RSS to the BJP. They finally have, bridged their ideology into a political party to start carrying out laws and legislations to make their mission come true for India. October 1985, if we're looking at his dashas. Okay. It's right before his Venus period, K2 Mercury. So he's in his K2 Mahadasha right now. So K2 is the focus. It's still his 11th house. It's still in Virgo and Uttara Falguni. His whole life so far has been about upholding the vow to the RSS, his community, what he sees as his collective. And remember that Jupiter in Dhanishta, in the homeland, in his inner happiness is so attached to having a duty to a collective. He thinks that that's what keeps him safe, right? Your fourth house is what your emotional safety is attached to. Well, his is having a duty to the collective, a purpose. RSS gave him a purpose at 8 years old, and he has never wavered from them. This is extreme loyalty, which is seen in Uttara Falguni Nakshatra, right? But guess what? There are shadow sides to these nakshatras. Having complete loyalty to something without questioning it is not right all the time, okay? You should always be questioning ideologies and your actions, and you should always be in review of that as a human being. So moving on, he becomes the chief minister of Gujarat in October 7th, 2001. Now he has moved into his Venus period. Venus is still in the 10th house. So what we're seeing are the planets being activated in his life. He's, up until he's 51 years old are the 10th and 11th house. Reputation, career, and the collective or his social groups, his networks, and his community, the RSS. Okay? This is what his whole life has been about. There's no room for anything else. This is a super rigid chart that honestly we're looking at right now. Comes the chief minister in his Venus Saturn period. Again, both of those planets are in the 10th house. So when he becomes chief minister, this is it. His Venus and Saturn are being activated in his chart. His career is finally here, and he finally is getting that public recognition that he has been working towards his whole life. This is it, baby. He has made it. The Gujarat riots killed over 1,000 people, and they were mostly Muslims. Critics say that his loyalty to the RSS prevented him from stopping the mobs. This is when he gave the people the right. These, by the way, the Gujarat was a BJP state. So India has a parliamentary system. So, right, there's multiple parties in India, and the BJP, the right-wing party that he's a part of, is the majority, just one majority in the state, Gujarat, in Western India. There's a higher number of Muslim population in the state, and because it's ruled by the BJP, they allowed people to self-police themselves and take out Muslims, and the state didn't intervene. They watched. This is why he's called the Butcher of Gujarat. Again, this is in 2002, so this is still in his Venus period. It's in his Venus Mercury, so it's a bit more about his career activating the vow to RSS. He's starting to now really implement their mission through laws and action as a politician. In 2014, at 63 years old, he becomes prime minister. May 26, 2014. This is now in his moon period. So his life is focused on the moon. The moon is here in his first house. So now it's changing to him caring so much about his reputation and his career to himself. Now there's just a huge focus on Modi himself. That's all it really is telling us. The first house doesn't really tell us more than that, transit-wise. May 2614 specifically is in his moon Rahu period. So the moon and Rahu are being activated, his first house, and Rahu, his fifth house, his ability to express himself. This is he is the embodiment now of RSS. He is the embodiment of BJP, the party. Okay. Now Modi is the party. Now it's all about him. Up until now, he's just been a soldier, a servant to RSS. Guess what? He is now the image of them. So, right, this is all really telling. And what I really want to get into are some of the shadow actions that he carried out. Little side note, when I was in university, I was actually studying to become an academic in cultural anthropology, and my specific research was in Islamic societies. I'm Lebanese, so I was personally very interested in the Shia Muslim experience. I really looked at Edward Said's understanding of the world through his theory Orientalism, which everyone I think should read when they have time, about how the West sees the rest and how they have been able to demonize the Eastern world, especially through colonization, imperialism, and othering. And it's been quite an attack on Muslims in particularly. So with that, I have that lens when I am looking at events in my life today. And I just wanted to throw that out there because it has really impacted the way I see these events in the world. Okay, that's my bias. So when I was in university, I wrote a paper, I'm not saying it's that good or anything, but I looked at India back then. I was looking at India's ban on beef. In 2015, Modi and the BJP, the party he's in, created a beef ban. Beef ban is policing his dharma, okay? His vow to the RSS. Another example. So Maharashtra beef ban was on March 2nd, 2015. and the subsequent laws in other BJP ruled states are really illustrating. I haven't spoken about it yet, but in his D9, his Jupiter moves into Jyeshta in the fifth house, which, right, I said earlier, this chart kicks in after 40 years old, and it would just be a whole nother video to go into that chart. But this Jyeshta is about leadership, protecting, and being the authority. And Jyeshta has quite a shadow, which we see in a lot of politicians today, and it can be quite scary. It can be very, very self-righteous, and Jupiter expands whatever it's in. So this also is showing his Jyeshta shadow as well. Why does the beef ban matter? How is that an attack on Muslims? Well, Hindus think that cows are sacred. Hindus are vegetarian. They don't eat beef. So the people in India that export beef and control that trade are majority Muslim. By banning beef, they are now attacking their livelihoods. This is quite a blow to Muslims or any other group that's their whole livelihood and economic life is about exporting beef and the beef trade. This is also that whole, he allows self-policing. So if someone sees someone, slaughtering a cow, he's allowing them to take action into their own hands and police them. This is where you start getting stories of people being beaten up for killing a cow. It's crazy. And this is what I wrote about in that paper, which I'm going to share the link. It's on Substack in this video below if you're interested. So the Gujarat riots, the beef ban, this is all just the beginning. He's starting to really carry out the Hindutva ideology, creating a Hindu nation, trying to expel the Muslims. And honestly, what a genius, right? This is so strategic. Nothing is like outwardly obvious here. This is like, covert, subtle ways of trying to push them out. Okay, systematically. You can compare the RSS to Zionism, what we're seeing in Israel today. And actually, Modi loves Netanyahu, and they have a huge alliance, India and Israel. Just saying. Okay, so another thing that I want to look at with time periods. So the beef ban was from 2015 to 2017. Well, he was in his moon Jupiter and moon Saturn. So here, the planets that are getting activated are still the moon. It's all about him right now, being the complete embodiment of the BJP and the RSS ideology. Well, Jupiter's in that fourth house of the homeland. He's carrying out all of this to the collective in India. 2019 was a big year for Modi. So let's look at 2019. So 2019 on February 27th, he moves into his moon K2 subperiod. So the K2 is the subchapter. Okay, here moon is the main chapter. Again, he's back into this to the collective, the 11th house, his popularity, his commitment to the RSS. So he's right. I said that 2019 was a big year for him to carry out some big laws that really affect Hindutva, however you say it, I'm sorry. August 19th, he took a strategic act on Kashmir. He stripped an entire region of its rights overnight. This is the Uttara Falguni shadow. He's in the K2 Uttara Falguni subperiod, rectifying a broken contract by colonizing the land for his base. So what did he do? He seized the land of Kashmir. Overnight, he deleted Article 35A, which protected the rights of the Kashmiris. He removed the shield protecting Kashmiri land. So now anyone from India can buy property there. Critics call this settler colonialism because the goal is to shift the demographics of India's only Muslim majority region, eventually turning the local population into a minority in their own home. Right? This is his Saturn duty. One nation, one law, regardless of the human cost. He is just so adamant that his ideology is the right one. Kashmir was something that the RSS felt the colonial powers made a huge mistake on, giving Muslims that land of Kashmir, and they wanted to rectify it. Strip them of their rights, place them under a military lockdown, and open the land for Hindu settlement only. The beef bans, he used his state power to police what people eat. He takes it further in December of 2019. So let's look at December. He actually now is moving into Moon Venus, again, about his career and reputation. And right, the 5th, the 10th house is Leo, his leadership, his authority. That's what he is really focusing on, is implementing his authority. And in December 19th, he creates this new Citizenship Act, CAA, which states that it is a law that fast-tracks Indian citizenship for refugees from Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Bangladesh, but only if they are not Muslim. It includes other sects, Hindu, Sikhs, Buddhists, Jains, Christians, etc. But if you are Muslim, you can no longer become a citizen of India. I don't really care if you believe in Islam or not. I'm personally not a Muslim, but guess what? Everyone has a right to exist. Everyone should have equal rights. So he does that in his Moon Venus period, activating Moon and Venus. But let's see, one thing he also does that really stood out to me that I feel no one talks about. Oh, and one other thing. This Citizenship Act was just months after the move he made on Kashmir. And I just want to focus on that Mercury retrograde in Uttara Falguni in his chart, because this cluster right here is everything. This wasn't like a sudden act of passion. Like, look at how long it took him to get here. This was disciplined. This was strategic over time. And it was meticulously timed so that he could maneuver legislation and redefine the very concept of what being an Indian means and completely revamp Indian identity. This is the shadow contract that excludes Muslims in his chart. Okay, moving on. So another thing, I don't feel like it got enough news coverage. On June 18th, 2023, he was the unilateral executor in Canada. So let's go to June 18th, 2023. Mars, Jupiter. So now he's in his Mars Mahadasha, again, focused on himself. So only transits we've had for him have been, like Maha transits, major chapters of his life have been his first house of self, his 10th house of career and reputation, and the 11th house of community, collective, and the groups that he belongs to, the RSS. This is a very rigid, focused chart. He's definitely playing a very huge role that's very specific. So going back to June 18th, he's in Mars, Jupiter. So Mars now is being activated. Remember, his Mars is exalted and it is very strong in his chart. It's a Mahapurusha yoga. Now, this is about protecting what he has built. This is the main chapter of this time period for him. It started in November 28th, 2021, and will go until November 27th, 2028. Okay, it's a 7-year period. So Mars is an action planet. It's a conflict planet. And he is his Mars is in Vishaka. That is the conqueror. That is the one who will succeed no matter what it takes and who he cuts in his path down. So Jupiter is the homeland. It's in the fourth house of his internal emotional happiness. In Dhanishta, he cares a lot about what others think and him having some sort of duty to his collective. So this is where I think the paranoia is starting to show about protecting his image, protecting everything he's built. What does Modi do on June 18th, 2023? He takes out a Sikh leader, Najar. He views him as a threat to his Indian nation, his Hindu nation, because even though Najar is in Canada, he's a very prominent Sikh leader for Indians, and he talks about creating a separate Sikh nation. Okay? Instead of contacting the Prime Minister of Canada and telling him that he thinks there's a threat and that he needs to take care of Najar, he, without telling Canada, uses his diplomats in Canada to take Najar out. Normally, this is a crime in international law. You can't just take people out in other countries. Canada was pissed, but I don't think Canada has the authority to take on India alone. So he got away with it. And it didn't even really make major news. No big deal. Modi's just protecting the homeland. Protecting the homeland from what? People having different points of views, people belonging to other religions. That is a threat to him now. So this Mars period is very reactive, and the shadow of Vishaka is he is now analyzing his threats and he is acting on them. Okay, if we look at another event that was quite a big deal, the Ram Mandir inauguration. So he demolished a Muslim mosque to build a Hindu temple. He sold it to the people as unifying India, but it was actually a triumph for the RSS. And again, that Jayeshta energy in his D9 chart is really being activated, saying that we are the only ones that belong here. This is India, Hindu. A lot of people took the bait. I have a lot of friends that thought this was an amazing triumph and it unified India. And I even had Indian gurus at the time that also sold it as a unifying thing. And it really troubled me that they could be in alignment with Modi's actions. And I am no longer a part of their work. So I immediately saw straight through it. But right, this guy is so amazing. I mean, his whole chart is selling to the world. He is the fierce protector of his homeland, India. Everything he does is for the collective, and everything he's doing is out of duty and responsibility, and it's all for the good, the greater good. But we all need to become conscious beings and look deeper into people's actions. This is a chart that the shadow karmic patterns are actually playing out. Go deeper than the surface level. And this is what I do with my clients who book sessions with me. We can really unpack your psyche in your birth chart. It's not just about, will I be famous? Will I have a good career? Will I get married? Your soul is here to overcome and learn certain lessons through certain life events. And that's what is so amazing about Jyotish and about these birth charts. So I haven't really gotten into like the aspects and all of this because I'm really focusing on how to see someone's core wounds. So Uttara Falguni, this is all about his solar plexus, his worthiness, okay? Vishaka, also very connected to the ego and it's more about the crown chakra, but also the solar plexus. Dhanishta is the solar plexus. Like his personal power, that's what his soul is really focusing on and and he is here to heal that. We're always here to heal, okay? I found this case study extremely interesting because the Mahadasha periods are just everything lines up with this chart when he takes an action. And he obviously has a soul commitment to RSS. This is what he's here to do. So, you know, it's in his chart. It's here. We can't dispute it. He has quite a commitment towards them in his life, but we can see how these amazing nakshatras like Uttara Falguni and Vishaka and Anaharata, right, on the flip side is someone, even though they're committed and they're loyal, it's like they're too much self-sacrificing. A lot of his chart is about blind loyalty. So I hope this was interesting. I hope that if no one knew about Modi and watched this, now you're going to go and do some research. He doesn't get a lot of coverage in the West, but what is going on needs to be talked about, and we need to be brave. I know it's like extremely scary to talk about uh, dictators this way, but this guy is a genius at selling everything as for India. He focuses on how he's making India great and economically, the economic growth, but a lot of things are getting missed in these propaganda campaigns. Like, is he really helping everyone, or is he helping the rich? Did he not just give tax breaks for the rich? Like, it's turning into what we see in the US with crony capitalism. And so I hope you can see that this is happening all around the world. This is happening in Asia. This is happening in India. And I'm very, very sad and scared for all non-Hindus in India. And I want you to know that I see you and I care about you, and you deserve equal rights. And your country is beautiful, and it's beautiful for its diversity. And I just want you to know that we see you. So I hope you all found that interesting. This is what I do as a Vedic counselor with Nakshatras, is I really go deep into them to understand what someone is here to overcome and not sit in the shadow with. This is quite a powerful person who could do great things, but I want you to understand that great and what's right is always interpretive and it's always subjective. And he is a perfect example of someone who feels so justified and so right when it is so actually wrong. So thank you all for watching. Hope you found this interesting. And I love you all, and I love India. Namaste.